Now this morning we have to lay out another day of project work, and in addition to that, Karen has a little project. I spray painted these gold last night when it stopped raining. I'm looking over at the parts. It's supposed to rain on and off all day, but tentatively we'd like to get the blue painted on this. Mark brought the spray guns over last night for our test parts. We can get some of the white parts painted as a test. We can paint the red fender. We can paint the other fairing. We've got a lot of parts we can work on today if it ever stops raining. And I have a little more work to do on a wheel. I want to grind out that hub and get that wheel ready, and actually even get that painted today if possible. But one of the things Karen had, she bought some flower pots and we painted them gold. So what I'm going to do is when we're done with whatever clear we do today, just going to give those flower pots a coat of gold. She's doing a tablescape upstairs, and this will match her tablescape. I'll try to show that at some point in the video. Now in the video before this, I showed this little tool that, again, that John Pothier had made up, kind of customized to fit in a Dremel tool. That's one tool. This is a good one. And you can pick this up at Harbor Freight for about $3. And let me show how this works. For doing this kind of work, if you're going to paint a casting, actually if you're going to do anything that requires this kind of a tool, first off, what it is, it's a mandrel that goes in a drill. One side has threads, and you can see there's two types. There's these sandpaper rolls that come to a point, which is what we're going to use to get in all of the little spots, and then there's the kind of flat ones that you can use to do a flat side. And what happens, you just let that kind of thread itself on, and you take this, chuck it into a drill. It's a 1/4 inch shank, so it fits in every drill. And you've got a tool that allows you to get in some spots you'd never be able to get into. By hand it would be difficult. By making a little manual tool. This now and the Dremel tool, between these two tools we'll be able to work this whole inside of the hub, hopefully get rid of most of the casting marks, and then prime it. Now the untapered bit is real good for getting inside, doing sides. I'm going to demonstrate. Now what it does, it gets rid of all the casting marks so that when I get the first coat of primer on there and sand it, it should be relatively smooth. If I just started doing the primer over the rough casting, you'd need 10 coats of primer. This should get it down to 1 or 2. This is the tapered tool is the one that's the best for getting in all the little radiuses and corners and edges. And I know this is, most people wouldn't even think about doing this. But this is something, when this is all done and this wheel is painted, and it's my fault for not realizing it the first time I painted the wheel. This becomes something that you see, and you see it very obviously. The disc brakes are around it, but that center hub is going to be green. Now, if we don't like it green, we could paint it flat black. We could just mask off the wheel, paint it even with a brush flat black. But I think, and we did that with the R1 wheels, but I think I'm going to like that green. But again, we'll see. And the last thing, I got some 220. This is sticky back paper, so it sticks to your hand. Because the last little bit, you always have to get by hand. There's no tool I know that does that last little bit of a radius. I want to put a little radius around all of the edges and corners. I may have to make a little, I wonder if I can get a tool to go in there. Well, we'll figure it out. But I put up a decent amount of time into getting this hub, I'll call it a hub, area to look nice. So we'll see in the final product if this is going to be worth the effort or not. And sometimes it's the smallest little detail like this that can just change the whole look of a part, and one part can change the whole look of a motorcycle. And that's what's nice about the sticky back paper when you're doing this kind of work. It kind of stays where you put it. Now what's left now is just to prep saw the wheel down again. And I probably would be better off, I have to back mask off the parts I don't want painted, of course, in around the bolt holes and stuff. And around the rim, I'll back mask that off and get a coat of primer on here. I was just going to paint at one time, just paint the hub, but because I've done so much sanding and taken out little flaws and little things that weren't just right after 2 or 3 years of being on the bike, there were some stone chips and things I wanted to correct. I may as well just prime the whole wheel. It probably won't be a lot different. It's going to have to get carefully detailed out, and then I can mount it up on my stand, and then it's just a question of hoping we don't have any rain. Now, doing any kind of work with a wheel, having a wheel balancer is, and I always want to thank Pokey for donating this one to our cause. Now, covering it with tin foil, of course, that's just one way to keep the spray paint off. We're pretty much ready to go out and get some primer on that wheel. This is the primer I've been using lately with some relatively good results. And again, I decided just to put a light coat of primer on the whole wheel. I had picked up a lot of stone chips, little things you didn't really see in the first sand out here anyway. Best thing with the primer, put it on in light coats if you put more than one coat on, but really no reason to put more than one on if you're just looking to bond paint. This becomes the glue to hold 2 layers of paint together. It's really not meant to be a filler as such, but they do make primer that is meant to be a filler. It's usually gray. They use it on like the cars when they cover the whole car with Bondo. We don't do that. That's kind of an inexpensive, I guess, way to do it. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're trying to work in between the raindrops. They predicted rain on and off all day, but these kind of days, we'll take whatever we can get. Well, that's got to dry, but the biggest item here is that it looks like the rain is coming back. But we are going to work around whatever weather we have today. Now, there's a couple of things that will help today. We still have the heat on in the house. It's just about 40 degrees out there now, so in the house it's about 25, 30 degrees warmer. I'll let that dry up there for at least 2 or 3 hours before we even consider painting it. Now, you could rush this. You could probably paint it in a half an hour if you wanted to, but since we have so many other projects to work on, I thought we'll just let that cook up by the heating vent. Now, Karen asked me, because this is part of her tablescape. We bought they're just ordinary flower pots, and I painted them with gold. And before, there's no chance I want to see what'll happen if I wait till the end of the day to do this when I have clear in the gun. The problem is going to be, if it rains, I don't get this done, and a couple of days from now, she's going to want these for her tablescape. I just thought I'd share this with our friends. This is one of the things Karen enjoys. We're having a family Passover dinner with a few friends, but she does enjoy doing these tablescapes. And usually during the year we have these. This is part of her extensive doll collection. and they are a lot of fun. They decorate the house, and she's had special outfits made for each one of them. She's made some of them. She's actually made some dolls from scratch, the ceramic ones, but because she's an art student, all of this kind of stuff is really appealing to her, and to be honest, it's appealing to me too. But anyway, this is where the gold pots are going. So I got to get some clear on them right now before it rains. Now, believe it or not, we just got the first of a few raindrops, and I promised Karen I'd get these done. So we're putting all the motorcycle stuff on the back burner. Try to get these done, get them in the garage. Just starting to drizzle a little bit now. Now Karen's going to be very, very happy because we just beat the rain. You can just see the raindrops are just starting to fall here. Did I beat this? It probably means it's our lucky day. Yep. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Yeah, that's going to look nice on her tablescape. Now Mark was here the other day and he brought 3 brand new spray guns. 3 of them. So we'll have a real nice choice. What having multiple spray guns is going to do, it's going to allow us to do, well, these are the bigger ones, and it doesn't matter if they're big or small. These things, they're $9 a piece. He said he got them for $9 with a coupon. What I'm going to do, again, is I'm going to set one up. They're very easy to set up, and if all else fails, you just leave it right the way it is. We'll save the box for the baby. They give you a brush to clean it. We'll save that, of course. Box can go over there. It's just a question of this. I wanted to show this one time. We do have a few people that follow through with what we do, and they're probably buying the same gun. Now, I've heard people moan and groan on the internet about, oh, this leaks, or that does this, or that does that. And for $9, I guess you can't complain. Too much anyway. So we'll see if this one leaks. But anyway, if you take this just the way it comes, you mix the paint, usually urethane, the blue urethane, and this is going to be Mark's, usually you would mix it 50-50 with urethane thinner, ordinary urethane thinner, but he actually got Sherwin-Williams thinner, so I guess we should use Sherwin-Williams or Ultra, whatever the hell it is. They're all the same. There's fast, medium, and slow. What is this anyway? Fast, medium. Okay, no problem. But anyway, that's it for assembling the gun. I need to put one other thing on here, and I suggest everybody do this. Since I have a really old compressor, and I'm going to be getting a new one soon, somebody's going to buy me one for my birthday sooner or later. So you screw this on by hand. This just gets rid of water and moisture as the compressor goes on. Quiet, you're going to sleep pretty soon. I'm going to put that compressor to sleep. You need an ordinary female fitting, a male fitting. And because it's plastic, I wouldn't over tighten it. Probably hand tight is fine. We mix up the paint 50-50. That gun is pretty much ready to spray. And I've never found the adjustments to be way out, but you could fine tune it. It's pretty easy to fine tune yourself. They come pretty much ready to go. Now, because we're using a totally new brand, type of paint, brand of paint, whatever you want to call it, the Sherwin-Williams paint. I did, and I always would do this anytime I use any new product. I did a little test, mixed that 50-50 just to see how the flow out was and what pressure. And it seems like these guns on my compressor gauge like to spray at about 20 psi. And I painted up a can just to see, and it looks a little bit orange peely, but it's still raining out there. Rain was getting in the paint and everything. I just want to see how this is going to dry up. I added a little bit of thinner, so we're probably at 60% thinner here. And it looks like the Sherwin-Williams paint needs a little more than 50-50 paint on these conditions. These conditions, it's 40 degrees. In the summer, that would not be true, but in the winter, because it's more viscous, it's more peanut buttery, a little extra thinner seems to help. So for today's conditions, it looks like if we do get the spray, and it's just drizzling out there, it's not worth even fooling around. But it looks like the magic bullet here is around 60% thinner. I mixed up an extra little batch. Another little tip, I never use up the end of the paint. I always would leave some of the paint in here. The reason is, if I want to make it a little bit thicker. If all of a sudden we had a 70-degree day, I'd want to make the paint just a little bit thicker. Anyway, and these guns, like I said, they come pretty much just about as idiot-proof as you can get. This knob here would make the fan, and you can see it as you change it. This gives you more paint, less paint. And the one on the bottom, which you can't even see here, I don't know, it's underneath here. This controls the pressure, which you don't even have to adjust it. I adjust it at the compressor. But you can fine-tune that while you're doing your job. Anyway, it looks like we're going to wait till that dries up. We're going to wait till it's... And see, this is what happens. It looks like the sun's coming out. As soon as you bring a part out there, you get all little drops of rain on it, and it ruins it. So we're just going to wait this one out until it's a little bit nicer. And boy, if I could give everybody some advice that I've learned the hard way over the years. When you rush things, you almost always pay some price in quality, or you make yourself crazy. In this case, the wheel's been drying about 2 hours up here under a heating vent. Boy, it's nice under this heating vent here. The wheel's actually a little warm. But we're not going to risk any of the real parts. We're not going to risk until we know those little raindrops. And boy, you can get yourself in a world of hurt and make yourself a whole day of sanding if you try to rush the job. Anyway, we'll just have to wait it out. Now, it looks like we don't have any raindrops here for... I'm willing to take a chance with the fender, but the weather is unpredictable. Now, what I did, I mixed up the red is 4th dimension, so that's not a big deal. As always with red, you need 3 coats of red. And that's the way red is. To make it red, 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 which is what we want to do. We want it to be an exact match if possible. And this is 4th dimension paint, not Sherwin-Williams, so this is the devil we know. Now this is the way this day has been all day. On again, off again with the raindrops. I keep checking, I keep looking at the sidewalk, keep waiting to see it. We've had a gap here of about 10 minutes. So we got the red loaded in a gun, the blue loaded in a gun, and the green for the wheel, but I'm not crazy about until this weather gets a lot better. So maybe it's a good time to punt the football. Now, as time has gone by and this has dried up, I just keep thinking, boy, if we only had a sunny day. You can't believe it, we waited this one out and look at this, look at that sun. Wow, it's a sunny day. Who knew? Who would have ever expected we'd have some sun today? Wow. Now this color is going to need 2 coats, I'm sure. So I'm going to get 2 coats on this and hope the sun stays out the rest of the day. Well, this day certainly was as unpredictable as any we've ever had, but it looks like it's getting cloudy again. Now, to be really honest, I do like the 4th dimension paint better than this. This paint is, I don't know, just doesn't flow out like the 4th dimension does, but it won't really matter. We're going to put clear on it. suspension, by the way, is the least expensive paint, and it flows out the nicest, so I don't know. Like a lot of things with painting, it's all mystery meat. Now as this day ends, it's still raining. We got little sun showers going on here. It's just completely crazy. But we have the fairing, the two fairings actually. The main thing's Karen's. The fender sitting out here cooking. So, and it's that wonderful time of the day. It's time to go get the baby. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the raindrops. We try to make the most of every day. Thanks for watching.